Hey everybody, so I decided to make a model. And I'm using Autodesk Fusion 360. Awesome program. It's very similar to Autodesk Inventor, which I used probably about 10 years ago. And I've been using SolidWorks since then, so I haven't used Autodesk in a while. But apparently they made Fusion 360 very closely modeled after Inventor. So this is awesome. Really good piece of software. It's free. And yeah, so I decided to model up the whole guitar before I start building it, because I started running into some challenges around what the changer mechanism was going to look like. And so I decided to actually model it so I can measure everything out and make sure it'll fit and it'll work. So originally I was thinking of taking apart the keyless tuner head piece that I bought, which had these arms here and which had the roller, that roller piece with the rollers for each string. And I was originally going to use that as the changer mechanism, except I learned from online forums that the spacing between the strings on the changer is actually a little larger than it is than it's supposed to be on the nut. And I want to build this guitar, at least the string area, the playing area, to the right specs. So I decided that I would have to use that roller piece for the nut. And so I was going to make my own changer mechanism, and I was thinking about maybe having the strings come over the fretboard and over these little round areas and then hook into these holes here, and then use that pivot point there as the actual bridge. But that would require building a piece that would hold this shaft, and then I would have to have these arms would have to hang through the body of the guitar like this somehow, and then they would need to come underneath, and I would need to be able to swing those arms. So the idea was then those arms would be pulled by a wire here, which would be connected to the servo. So here's a servo. I would have all the servos under here, and then they would pull on these arms. That seemed a little complicated, and so I'm kind of having a change of direction here. What I think I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to mount the servos directly to the tuning pegs. So I'm going to take the knobs off of the tuning pegs and put a shaft coupler and connect the servos right on top of those tuning pegs. So I figure, why have two different pitch changing mechanisms? I already have these tuners. I'll just, on the tail side here, I'll just have the strings come out and mount directly to a fixed point, and I'll have rollers. I'll just have one set of rollers here. The strings will mount to a fixed point, and then on the top side here I'll have servos on top of each tuning knob. And so the tuning knobs already have gearing built into them, so I should get good torque with the servo, and I won't have to worry about the strings holding their position when I turn the servos off. So when you tune a guitar, because of that gearing inside the tuning peg, the strings will keep their position when you let go. So hopefully I won't have to worry about that with if I do the same thing with the servos on the tuning pegs. I might also not need the balancing springs, the weight balancing springs. So that'll remains to be seen. But I think this will reduce the overall component count and make the design a little simpler. So right now I'm going to work on designing a frame that'll sit over the tuning pegs here where the servos can mount to, and I'll plan on designing it so that I could eventually have one servo per string if I wanted to do that, even though I'm only going to have three strings that are going to be bending at this point. Alright, so that's what I have now, and Autodesk Fusion 360 is awesome, so go check it out, and thanks for watching.